Hey YouTubers, Tio here with Simplistic Fishing. Hey, today we're on part 4 of Cedar Creek Reservoir Lake Breakdown. So we've already done the Google Earth waypoints and the navionics for the northern half of the lake. And then we went for the video 3, we did the Google Earth waypoints for the middle half of the lake, what we call zone 2. And then this video is going to be focused on zone 2, but we're going to look at the navionics side and see what we can find from the contours and things like that could be potential hotspots. So stick around, I got some good stuff for you. And as always, if you missed the last couple of videos, I'll put those links up at the top so you can follow along. Hey, let's get started. Let's jump into this thing.
All right, so here we go. So again, we're looking at zone 2. So we're going to look at basically the lake from about right here. So we'll draw a line right there, basically from there all the way down to about right here. So this will be zone 2. So let's start on zone 2 and let's just get into it. So first off, we're looking at this first long code when we go up here. Really looking at navionics. There's a couple things I want you to look at. I think we marked some of these. There is a brush pile outside of this dock. There's some rocks right around in this area that you can take a look at. Also some trees that were down. I think we marked that area as well. And then you've got a nice creek channel that's coming out of here. So you might want to check these 2 points, see if there's any type of laydowns or anything like that that could be by that creek bed. Again, you just got a ton of docks. Nice creek channel coming back in here. So obviously, one of the patterns you can run, say you're just going to fish docks where the creek channels come up or come close by the docks. You can just pick all those areas where that happens and just run that pattern. So this would be a good area for that type of pattern because you do have the creek channel coming up pretty close along the docks. One thing that really catches my eyes here that I didn't see on Google Earth is this roadbed. So definitely worth scanning that roadbed, see if there's any good spots on that. You do have a nice little drop right there and the roadbed together. You do have a submerged culvert and a creek bed here too. So that could be a good spot. Again, don't really know. I haven't spent a lot of time on this lake yet, but will here in a couple weeks for sure. So moving on down, you got a good creek channel here. Looks pretty decent. You got a submerged culvert right here that you might want to check out. Right off the edge of that dock with the roadbed. So those are always good places to look. And then really you're just looking at any creek channel. So again, got a good creek channel coming up through here. Got one in this cove as well. So all good spots to take a look at. One of the things back here are these roadbeds. I know it'd take a long time to scan that entire roadbed, but I bet if you did, or if you just started tracking parts of it, you'd start to find areas that were really good areas for fish. So take a look at those areas and see what you can find. This in here too, this roadbed that comes through here, looks like a pretty good area, especially where you see the culvert coming in and the creek channel meeting, everything kind of submerging it together. Those are always really good places to find fish. They're really good fish attractors. So moving on down, we've got this roadbed here. I think we actually pointed that on the waypoints, but that is there. That's that nice little point that sticks out. That looks really good. You might want to fish off the edge of that, especially where that roadbed is. Got some decent deep water access out here, 5 to 12, so pretty decent drop off. You've got a creek channel way out here, which is nice, and you've got a roadbed, so you've got a pretty good combo right in that area. Moving on over here, not too much here, just a creek bed that I saw, and another roadbed. Of course, check out these creek beds for sure. Sometimes they can have brush piles that are on either sides of them, or especially if there's a swing, sometimes you'll find some really big stumps, things like that. So check those out and check out that submerged culvert. And if you can get back in here, definitely check that out. It's a good looking flat come springtime. All right, so we're going to move on down off of this flat and come on down here. Didn't see too much in here other than this creek bed that's coming through here. So it might be a good little area to check out, pretty shallow. Did see a fishing spot here. It looks like there's a pond down here. You probably got some pretty good drop-offs around this riprap and stuff. So these are always good areas to fish anytime you get around the pillars and things like that. Those are always hot spots. But you'll want to take a look at that, take a look at the roadbed, and then maybe even go out and scan around that pond dam and see if there's anything out there. There could be something out there that's the reason why that plus is there. Pretty good drop-offs in here. Really for this lake, you don't see too many drop-offs like this. So these could be some potentially good areas depending on what time of season it is. Here you got a nice pond dam. And then moving on down, you've got a pond that's back in here as well with the creek channel that comes up completely out of our creek bed. So take a look at those. Those could always be good spots. Moving on down, we've got a pond here. Apparently pond dams are good on Cedar Creek Reservoir, so we'll want to take a look at those. So take a look at that pond dam. And then this this right here is really interesting. You got a roadbed that goes right underneath all of these docks. I would say fish every one of those docks. At least I would. You've got some hard surface underneath the docks. You've got shade. Got all kinds of good stuff, and you got a creek bed that comes along it. So all those things are usually pretty good things, when they're combined together. Moving over here, you got some pretty good breaks here. There's a little fish icon there. I'm not sure what that is. I wouldn't spend too much time on that. Don't really see anything in here really that catches my attention really well, but this creek bed does. Obviously, so we'd fish around that creek bed or those areas. That creek bed coming right off the edge of that dock. That dock right there could end up being a pretty good dock for you. Moving on down here, we got another creek bed coming through here and a couple different fishing spots on there. I would check that out. That's probably a brush pile or something like that being off the edge of that creek bed. And then you've also got brush piles that are right off this dock, which I think we marked with our Google waypoints. And then beyond that, you really just got that creek bed that runs all the way back. So if you notice here, it starts touching some of these docks. All of these docks on this side would be good areas to fish, good hot spots for dock fishing, definitely. All right, we're going to move on over here. Don't see too much around these docks, but I did see this roadbed down here, so definitely check that out. Again, that's a seasonal thing, but a lot of times they're going to relate to those things, especially if there's nothing in here. Then all of a sudden you've got some hard structure right here. Definitely something they would like. Got some nice little pockets here. Got a fish attractor right here, so probably a brush pile or something right off the edge of this point. And again, if you notice here, you've got a major creek channel coming through here. And if it's anything like Hubbard, even though this creek channel is way out here, there's probably brush somewhere in here, right? Somewhere in this little area right in here. There's probably some brush piles that no one's marked. Probably somebody's little secret honey hole. But go check that out. I'd scan that whole area from that creek channel over and up and just kind of make a square and see what you can find in there. Maybe there's nothing there, but usually when you see that creek channel running like that, you can usually find the timber and the brush piles off the edges of it. All right, so moving to this point. This point looks good. Nice, shallow, flat point that has a pretty decent drop off, so definitely check that out. Got some more pond dams back in here that you'll want to look at, and a roadbed that goes completely across the lake here. So check out that roadbed. Check out that dock. That roadbed might go right underneath that dock. If it does, that dock will be a hot spot. Not sure if I'd go out here. Maybe summertime, 28 foot of water. But this lake, to me, it doesn't really appear to be as much of a deeper lake as it does just docks. There's so much docks. You can fish docks the entire day and probably have a heyday. So you got this roadbed here. Some good drop-offs by these docks. Some decent ones here. A really nice one there where that roadbed was I was telling you about. And then going back in here, it's just dock city with some creek beds. So again, if you were running that dock pattern, find those creek beds that come close to the dock. There's one, there's two, hit those two, maybe hit those three, and then I'd be bailing out to find the next spot unless those were really, really good. So moving through here, there wasn't much I found on those docks as far as navionics, but you do have a nice roadbed again. So check out that roadbed. That could be good. Whatever this is, check out the edges of it and see if there's anything on the edges of it. I don't know what that is. Obviously it says keep out, but that roadbed going through there might be some structure or something you can fish around that area. You got another good roadbed here that you can fish. Pretty much depending on the time of the season, just find the depth and figure out where they're at. And then a creek bed that kind of runs through here. This is an interesting one because it comes up here and it runs kind of parallel this alongside that roadbed, and then it drops off back over here, and then it goes swings back this way underneath this culvert. So probably right in here looks really good. See how it swings. I bet that creek channel comes like this and probably swings up against that bank. This could be a good looking area. That's submerged culvert could be a good area. This little ditch right here could be a good area. All kinds of good things along those creek beds, and that roadbed looks really healthy. Having that roadbed there by those docks, there could be stuff in there too. So take a look at all those areas. Those all look good. And this huge flat here looks good too. You got a nice decent sized flat with some really deep water on the edge of it, 35 feet, probably some of the deeper water in the lake. And then when you get up here, you've got some fish markings, you've got some rocks, you've got a nice road here too with a decent drop off. You got 35 foot of water there, and you've really got just the nice flat there and some good fishing spots, some good rocks, all kinds of good things to look at there. And then you've still got that creek bed that runs through here, so maybe check out these docks. You got a little bit of good break coming off the edge of these docks. That might be worth looking at. Could be a brush pile here, especially with them having it marked there. Could be a brush pile there. You've got some rocks here as well. all these things, I don't know. These things could be crappie, these things could be bass. Half the time I don't even trust them. There's people put some funny stuff on there, but it never hurts to just go by and check them out and just see if there's something there. It's probably 50-50 when you'll find something there, and then 50% of the time you won't. This one here looks pretty interesting because it's right on that creek channel. That's probably a brush pile sitting out there in the middle of the lake, so I would take a look at that for sure. You've got a couple of these other pockets that are over in here. Not too much going on that really caught my attention, but you got a nice creek bed coming here, which is nice. And then I'd really pay attention to this creek channel, as you're coming up here. See if it swings over and hits any of these docks right here. We just talked about it. Right here is where it happens. So it hits these docks right here. So this whole line of docks is probably a really good dock line to fish. So you'll want to take a look at those when you go up in that pocket. All right, so moving on down, let me make sure I don't get into zone 1. I think we still got a little ways to go. Moving on down, we can take a look. There's a couple more things here I want to show you. There's a road bed here. We've also got a nice road bed that comes out here all the way over into some really deep water. There's a little fishing point there, and there's a creek channel that comes along there, the riverbed. Everything's right there. That's pretty deep water, but in the summertime, I wouldn't be scared to go out there and try it, especially with all the action that's going on around it. Got a nice pond dam that's up here with the creek channel coming out, but I fish around that pond. Back in here, didn't see too much. Somebody's got a little fishing icon there. I mean, that is a little bit of a flat point that comes off with a little bit of drop. That could be a brush pile, so check that out. And I really like this point. I like how it has some really good drop here, going from about 5 foot of water down to about 13 to 20 foot of water. So real nice break just right there on the edge. And then moving on over, more docks, and more docks. Just keep seeing docks, and then finally we get down here where there's another road bed going underneath the dock. So I check this dock out. That's right there. That could be good. And you got a pile of rocks that are right here off the edge of this. We actually marked this on Google Waypoint so you'll see it, but we've got the pile of rocks right there. And then you notice how this is really breaking a ton. Look how dark that gets right there by this point. This point is probably a pretty good area to be fishing. You've got the creek channel with a riverbed coming way out here. You've probably got trees and stuff all in here, piles of debris or something that's probably up in here. So I would fish this point pretty heavy. And I think it's going to depend on whether or not they're over here in the really deep section or if they pulled over here more to the shallow section just off the edges. So fish this entire point. Check it out. I'm sure it's going to be a good one for you. All right. We got one more cove to go, and then I got to stop before I get past zone 2 here. But we're going to go swing around this cove, and didn't see too much here. I mean, there is a lot of different contours in this area, so I did like that. Lots of different breaks. You've got a really significant one right in here. You've got another really good one right there as well, and you've got a road bed coming up underneath these docks. So this area right in here, where this road bed comes to the docks, could be good. Again, a lot of big breaks that are off way outside the shore. So unless you're a deep fisherman, you probably don't like fishing out there, but some of those drops could be good. So you always want to check those out, especially when you see the major drops like that, like here, 5 to 16 feet, 6 to 27 feet. So you've got some major breaks that are going on here. So check those out, especially if you like fishing a little bit further off the bank. Probably a brush pile here by this dock. Not too much going on back in that cove, but going on up here, there is an old road bed that's right here, and someone has marked it as a hot spot to fish. So take a look at that road bed that's right there, and then also come up here and fish around this dock because there's some really good contours here, real good drop-offs. And again, someone's marked that spot, so it's probably already a hot spot to begin with. Now moving on back, and this creek bed goes forever, and you can actually tell they put the creek bed out here in the middle, and you can tell where the creek bed goes. It swings hard underneath these 2 docks right in here, so those could be 2 really good docks. And then it looks like it swings way back to the right and hits right around in here, so this could be a good area too. Right in here, it's a good little point inside of the cove. And then again, you see where it kind of probably goes here and swings pretty hard this way, so I fished that group of docks, and then I follow it, and now it looks like it's hitting this bank line, so fish that group of docks. So if you get my drift, you're just kind of following that creek bed. Anytime it can touch the things that or get close to the things you're fishing, you're increasing your chances of catching fish. All right, so also a real nice drop off here. You got a fishing platform, an old pond, a nice drop off, and probably a pond dam of some sort right in here. So check this out. Again, could be a really good area. On top of all the pond dams and everything else, you still got that creek bed that's coming right along here. So this is always a good sign. There's usually 10 timber or something along those creek beds. Right, moving on up, we're gonna look at all of this, just some real shallow stuff, some decent breaks, but I mean, you can't spend your whole day just looking at all the breaks, so unless there's something significant there, probably just skip over it. Got some deeper docks in here. This one is pretty significant. Something is turning here, something's happening here. I don't know if this creek bed's really going this way. It's probably swinging up and then down and out, and this is where this again would be a good hot spot. Those 3 docks right there look really good. And we're going to move on up. We're kind of following this creek channel to see if we see anything on this left side. Don't see much. Little creek bed there. Not too much else up there that really catches my attention. This creek bed, obviously being close to these docks, all these docks in here can be good to you. Just depends on the time of year. And then you also got the V, where they actually connect here, which can be good to you. So take a look at that. Take a look at the roadbed. A lot of this is going to be scanning. If you're not wanting to scan, then just follow that creek channel. If that creek channel touches the docks, hit all those docks. So basically, here we go again. We got a creek channel coming through here. That's hitting hard against the docks. So start on that dock and work your way down. That can be a good spot. Check out these roadbeds. Depending on the year, pull off the bank and check out these roadbeds. They like to hang out on the roadbeds. And again, you've got creek beds. So try to find where that creek bed touches the docks or gets close to the docks. And that's going to be your hot spots. You got some pretty decent points that are out here. Not sure I'd waste too much time on them. They got decent breaks, but nothing that really catches the eye. And then I believe that was all I wanted to show you on this side until we get down into there. Well, actually, let me show you these 2 spots real quick. So, got a good creek bed coming back in here. Again, nothing too crazy, but it could be a nice little creek channel or something to check out. And then back in here, you've got some pretty significant breaks right off the edges of these docks. So fish this dock, fish that dock, also fish this dock down below, and then just kind of follow it and see where it touches here and fish all those docks. Fish all those docks right in there. In here, probably fish this dock. This dock looks really good. Got a nice break right there too, right on the edge of it. So fish that one, So you kind of see in my pattern here what I'm looking for. And then, of course, these 2 things, anytime you see these and they're in the back, like really, really far back of a cove or something like that, you see it on navionics, those are usually bass spots, and that's usually because they're spawning back in there in someone's mountain. So my guess is those are spawning areas, so you'll want to check those out in the springtime. Moving on down here, we've got this roadbed that comes out, so again, check it out depending on the season, and a nice drop right off that point. And then you've got some rocks coming right off of these points. We marked both of those on the Google Earth as well. We've got another one right in here. This was that interesting spot that we were looking at, but good rocks right on the edge of both of these that you want to take a look at. And down just a little bit further. This all looks interesting in here. You got a nice big flat point that comes out here. Right, you can see pretty significant. Put it in the middle of the screen here. You've got a nice shallow flat point right here. With good drop off on both sides and a creek channel. So I'd scan this whole area and figure out where they're at, because they're going to be here somewhere, or they might be up in that flat feeding. There's just no telling where they're going to be, because it depends on the season. But if you hit it right, especially let's say it's pre-spawn, I'm going to come in here. I'm probably going to start scanning probably around in here, and I'm just going to try to find them. Just follow that green around and see until I can find activities. They could be back in here. They could be up here. They could be right out here on the edge of the creek, just not coming in. Just don't know, but at least we've got a pathway to show us where they're going. Another one here, another good creek bed coming along the docks. And then this will be the last spot I wanted to show you here by Crappie Island. It's got some pretty significant drops here, but the main thing here is this big point that comes out. So you get a nice shallow point, and you've got a little high spot on it. So take a look at that, all the edges of that, even right in here. So those can just be good spots for you. Alright, so let's move over to the west side and wrap this thing up. Lots of different fishing spots out here. My guess is a lot of those are probably going to be white bass or sand bass or something like that. They could be large ones, so you just want to check them out because they are off the breaks. You got a little bit of a high spot there, so the mountains, a little bit of a high spot there. You got a lot of spots around the water. So anyways, check out this area right in here. Also, we've got some good breaks down here by these docks. So maybe check out the edge of that dock. That dock's in about 2 waters. That could be good. You got a You got another one here that like 27 foot. You can check those. Those are obviously, probably later summertime holes, but take a look at those. Also look at this. This, pretty shallow in here, and then it gets pretty deep. It's a little bit deep hole, but it has a nice little break here coming off of a shallow spot. So take a look at that and take a look at that. Thought there could be something there to look at. All these areas where these major breaks are, it's going to all be good spots. You just got to go out there and spend the time with the charts and with your graphs and figuring out where the bait's at, and then obviously if you find the bait, you found the fish. So we've got another hot spot here. This one doesn't look as good as those other ones. I'm not sure I'd spend a lot of time there. This one looks like a nice hump that's out here, so for sure take a look at that. And then again, we've got the creek beds, so just follow the same pattern of the creek beds, see if they'll touch any of those docks. If they come close to the docks or if they touch the docks, you're going to want to fish them. And then really, here we go. We got another road bed here. What I like about this road bed is it cuts right in here before they start going back in the pockets. We talked about pre-spawn or even post-spawn. That could be a good staging spot for us. They could be coming in here and hanging out here for a few weeks before they make a move to go on back. So take a look at these, especially when they're moving open to those pockets. Sometimes they can generate some pretty good fish. Got some additional road beds up here, just some random road beds. Again, just scan them and see how they do. Now the nice thing here, as you see here, we got a creek channel again. And anytime you see that creek channel, you're always looking to see if there's any major depth changes close by. And you have it right here. So this creek channel probably swings further out here and hits this bank line, or comes close to this bank line right in here. So these spots in here will definitely be hot spots. And then we'll look at that bubble area right there. If we were just draw a square, that would be your hot spot. Got a road bed out here. Got another road bed back in here. Check out. Nothing really going on in these pockets too much except for this one back here that's got the creek bed. It's really shallow bottom of it, so look out here when it sees everything for sure. Move on up. Another road bed here, just like we were talking about before. It cuts off that pocket. So good stopping points when you can find them when they cut all the way across the coves like that. So take a look at that road bed, right? That can be a good spot to fish on this side possibly. I'm getting up here by the dam and my mouse is going nuts, keeps zooming in, zooming out. You guys probably think I'm crazy, but I promise you I'm not. Right here we've got another road bed coming underneath these docks and right off this point. So take a look at this right here. Again, good spot. Nice shallow point here that I skipped over to. Nice shallow point here with some drop off at the end. So you always take a look at the points. The points can always be good for you. And then we're going to move on down through here. Again, take a look at those waypoints on Google Earth, because you can see a lot more on Google Earth on this lake than I can really on navionics. The river looks pretty bare except for that river bed. Got a good creek bed here. Then you got a nice road bed here as well. So take a look at those road beds. And then right off the edge of this point, they've got another one of those fish things. Again, you're out here in a riverbed. This is pretty deep, 40-something foot of water. Not sure I'd try it, but it's always worth a chance just to go out there. It's probably catfish or something like this. I would probably opt off of going out there, and I would swing back in here and find these rocks that are right here and fish around those rocks and stay shallow. Moving on over here, got a creek bed coming back through here. So it's always good to go and check that out, see if you see any bait back there, see if you see any activity. You got a marina with a creek bed coming underneath it. And really it swings all the way back, so this whole pocket right in here could be good where that Lone Star marina is. And then here's a break wall. You can't really tell too much on navionics, but those break walls, we caught lots of fish off the break walls, and then this break wall is actually off of a shallow point, so you're kind of adding two things. You got the shallow point and the drop off, plus you got a break wall. Those all, putting all those things together, every time you can add another factor to it, that's always good. So I would take a look at that break wall, see if it would produce anything for you. I'm just going to keep scrolling up here a little bit further. Got another creek bed coming back in here that goes way back in there. So I would check out any of these docks where it gets close to them. And then also anywhere where that creek bed might touch short, like right here. See how it goes deeper against that creek bed, probably nearly hits this thing. So fish those docks right here. For sure. Same here. You guys will catch a fish this secondary hole for sure. And this looks good, but it looks pretty deep, so I don't want to spend too much time up there. But you've got a significant creek bed that runs into this one. So when you get back in here, like right in here, these can be good areas to fish. right here is another good example. See where it gets a lot deeper right here? If I zoom out, you can almost see how it just gets darker in that one area. Fish that area. That's going to be a good area. All right, so moving on over here, we've got more creek beds coming all along these dock lines. That's good. Got a nice little point here where the creek bed swings around. And then looks like somebody's got a brush pile on the dock over there too. So take a look at that dock brush pile, see if it produces anything for you. We just had a lot of waypoints along this bank line. So take a look at those because a lot of it's just a rocky bank line kind of plane. But anytime you're scrolling the bank line, you see something that's different like this right here. Stop and take a look at it. At least scan it and see if there's anything there. Those changes are usually where they're hanging out at. This is another change. The bank line's pretty normal, except for right here. And again, right where you see the little fish icon, it kind of goes in towards the bank. So we're starting to put a pattern together here. Moving on up the bank line, not seeing too much here. Obviously got this big creek channels way out here. You may want to scan right along in here at this point. It's got some pretty good deep water access, and it looks like this creek bed would actually swim up against it. So take a look at these. They run to all those 5 dots right there. See if we can get some fish up in those dots. Making sure I don't go too far up here because I get back into the not careful. I think I just about there. So moving on over here. Another brush pile possibly here, so take a look at that. And I'm going to wrap up right there. I don't see anything else. So that really covers us for zone 2 for Cedar Creek. The next video, which will be number 5, we're going to get into the waypoints on the southern leg down here, basically from where we stopped, right in here below. So really these 2 areas right here, which to be honest is where I have fished the most on Cedar Creek and where I'm at the most fun. So the next videos should be pretty good. So hey, appreciate you very much. If you want to get the waypoints from the other videos, again, just subscribe and send me a message at Simplistic Fishing with your email address. I'll get those over to you. I wish you guys the best of luck out there this spring. Tight lines, and let me know if I can do anything to help you. Have a good one, guys. Take care.